in my life.
It's the Prentice Allsup Heating and Air Coach's Corner, fueled by Donut Country and McDonald's on 1019, 100.5, 1450, WGNSSports.com and Big G TV.
And this portion of the Coach's Show is brought to you by Middle Tennessee Electric, serving our community by providing affordable, reliable, and safe electricity. Online at mte.com. John Dinkins here with you. Mychal Greenwood, our visiting coach from Vergne. And, Coach, it's been an interesting week for you, interesting couple of weeks. And congratulations on the big win against Smyrna. And I know you guys have been waiting for that moment for a long time.
Yeah. It felt great. It felt good to see all the guys smile together and just get to celebrate it. Big weight lifted, and we're hoping we can take that momentum into the next one.
You know, it is funny. It doesn't take much to turn around.
It doesn't.
I think it's a long time coming. But you were in a lot of these games that you played in, and how did they react after the win? I'm interested to find out because I know you were happy, but they had to be ecstatic.
Oh, yeah, they felt good, and I know they felt good walking through the school. It's all about the peers. You want to be able to look your peers in the eyes and say, we did it. It was against a rival, so that always feels a whole lot better. Everything just felt lighter this week. It felt a lot lighter.
We've been talking about these districts, and we were out there before we came in here, but it's been a little different year. Now, it's your first year, so I don't know if you know that it's been any different, but it just seems like it's been a lot quicker. The years gone by a lot faster, and you've been playing the opponents that you have in the district. Well, you played them pretty quickly, and I mean, you got through that round pretty quick, didn't you?
Yeah. And especially with that snow week, where it canceled a week. So then it was just 6 games all bunched up together, and you just had to sprint through them. So it did. It went by super fast.
Tell me a little bit about the season before we get into the district or the region here. I know it's been a tough, and you mentioned something to me or out there too that I thought was interesting. When you were hired, you really didn't have a lot of time to meet your players or to get to know them. You didn't have a summer to go over that, and that had to be a little bit of a regression in itself, I would think.
For sure. I think every coach knows and appreciates how important the off season is. This was a year where I really, really got to feel how important the off season is. Because it's not just, go through plays and learn systems. It's more so just learning each other.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't get an opportunity to learn each other. You got to figure out what makes guys tick. They got to figure out, are you here just because you're just some guy filling in, or if you actually care and you're in for the long haul. So that whole the trusting process was
and
the
who's the
hardest
go-to
thing to
player?
overcome. Who's the go-to player?
Yeah.
Who's the second go-to player?
Yeah.
I mean, it's even small things like who's the best guy to inbound the ball.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It's like even small things like that where you got, you can't figure it out in practice. That's kind of a game thing.
Yeah.
Where you figure out, oh, this guy can't handle this, or this guy is better at handling that. Who can read? Because on those inbound plays, you got to be able to read. You got to be able to read the cut. You got to be able to see the guy open before he's open.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Like a quarterback.
Like a quarterback, exactly. It's exactly like a quarterback. And the difference with football is you have 5 guys come try out and say, I want to be quarterback, and you figure out which 5.
Mm-hmm.
Well, with basketball, you got 15 guys on a team, and you say, which one of these 15 can read this the best?
And you might have a 6'7" guy, coach, right? I mean, you might have a 6'7" guy that can bring the ball down the floor and is the best player to do that. And even though his size doesn't really fit what you would count as a point guard, I mean, not in your case necessarily, but that happens, I would think.
But actually, in our case, one of the things that we did have is we do have our big man helping bring it down the court, because not just so much he's like a fantastic ball handler, he is a good one, but he's a great decision maker.
Yeah.
And again, you have to go through those in real time versus trying those things out over the summer in scrimmages where there's not as many eyeballs on you, not as much pressure. You have to figure it out in real time. And dealing with the young group that we have, you're trying to balance that and keep confidence and keep interest. Like it was a tough job for those kids to fight through, and I'm super proud of them for doing it, because it would have been easy for them to lay down against Smyrna and just take a loss and say, oh, it is what it is. We'll play the next week anyway, so it doesn't matter. So it would have been easy for them to lay down. We got down, I believe, about 16 points that game.
Wow.
And so for them to fight back, it shows a lot about what's really within them.
In a season like this, and we're not going to sugarcoat it, it was tough. I mean,
sure.
And did you ever have a moment with them that you had to circle them around, circle the wagons, you might say, and go, now, guys, we're in this together, and that kind of thing, something to kind of spur them on? Because I know it can get down. I mean, it's, if you continue to lose.
Yeah, so we had a couple of those moments, to be honest with you. However, I will say there was a conversation that we had in particular right before we played Smyrna that I believe helped steer us in the direction that we did that game. It was an intimate conversation, very quick thing while we were watching film, where a question was asked about why we're being game planned a certain way, and I responded the way I felt, and I think it really hit home, and we got the results that we did. And so I'm hoping that they still understand that conversation. I hope it still resonates, and then we go out here and do what we can do this evening. You
have to tip your cap to them. Consolation game. And like you said, I mean, you're going anyway.
Yeah.
But seeding is important, and
For
who
sure.
you draw.
For sure.
And they kind of sensed that, I guess, and they took it. You got Rockville tonight, and they're very talented. They've had a couple of losses in the last week or so. How do you game plan for them? Because I know they're very athletic.
Yes. The thing about Rockville that I love and hate to coach against is they play really hard. They play really hard. And so if you're not willing to be physical and play hard, you can't beat them. So the X's and O's are one thing, but when you can get a group and shout out to the coach, he does a great job of just getting those guys to give everything they can. And when you have to play a team that's willing to fight and play that hard, you gotta bring your lunch pail. You know what I mean? They're not going to give you anything easy.
The mindset now, you lose, you're done.
Yes.
It's a whole different ball game now.
Yes, for sure.
And I would think it would be important to get that good start, let them know that they can play with them. I mean, I think those are important keys in this game tonight.
Yes. The start will be everything. I agree with that. We got to be able to give a punch and take a punch. You know what I mean? I got to be on my toes about how and when to use those timeouts. They'll be very important. And so, that pregame conversation, that layup line, like that all is very, very big because that first quarter is going to be everything.
The game is at Rockville. I think it's at 6 tonight. Is that right? Okay.
Yes, game is at 6. It's. I'm also looking forward to it because it's a rematch of a situation where first game we didn't show up at all. You know what I mean? We took a good whooping, and I know we're better than that.
Yeah. And I guess your theme this year is to keep the faith. It's going to happen. I mean, it will happen eventually.
Yeah. I mean, and for the playoffs, it's why not us?
Yeah.
Why not us?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like we've fought, we've had to overcome a lot of adversity that a lot of haven't had to deal with. And at this point, it's 0-0 records. We win, and it doesn't matter. What you did yesterday doesn't matter if you win today.
And particularly in boys, there are instances of this happening, where a team, kind of goes through, gets hot, plays well, 4 or 5 games, and no telling how far you can go. It would be an amazing accomplishment if you guys get there with the record you have.
For sure.
But like I said, history has proven that can happen.
For sure. Because, one of the things that we were all just kind of talking about in the lobby there, in this county, you got to have some winners, you got to have some losers, but the talent comparison is pretty a lot closer than the scoreboard or the records would make you think. So it's just a matter of some teams have been better at locking in for 32 minutes than others. And so if I can get my guys to lock in for 32 minutes, then we could be on the flip side of some of these results that we've been on.
It's a game that it's always weird because it's one game. Crowds are usually not quite as big, so you have to find ways to kind of fire your guys up. I don't think that'll be the case tonight. I think there's going to be a good crowd there. But anything different that you'll do today that you've done in the past?
Anything different? It'll be different from regular season, but it'll be very close to, like I said, the way we approach the district.
And next year, regardless of what happens this year, having that summer to work with these guys is going to be so invaluable for you, isn't it?
Oh yeah. I'm excited about working with my younger guys. We got an outstanding group of freshmen who was an integral part of that win against Smyrna because they come with such positive energy.
Yeah.
And so even though they didn't get in, the support, because like you say, you need all the support. You need everybody rallying together. So they were an intricate part of that. The summer will be very important. But I'm trying my best not to look too far ahead and just focus on tonight.
The old one game at a time.
One game at a time.
Mychal, it's appreciate talking to you, and tell Theo that our old principal said hey.
We'll do. Always a pleasure. Thank you.
All right, that's Mychal Greenwood. Got a big game tonight against Rockvale, 6 o'clock game time. This portion of the show brought to you by Edward Jones Financial Advisor Lee Colvin, who will work with you to develop a complete, tailored strategy to help you achieve your financial goals. That's Edward Jones Financial Advisor Lee Colvin. We'll be back. I think it's Oakland time.